Welcome to the Profitable Practitioner podcast. This is a podcast for unlicensed practitioners and coaches as they navigate their way through the journey of entrepreneurship. Here, we will be having conversations with real practitioners about their businesses, gathering marketing and business tips from other online experts, and ultimately creating a community for support and growth. My goal is to give you the knowledge, tools, and support you need to build, scale, and sell your services so you can truly create the business of your dreams. Hey guys, welcome back to the Profitable Practitioner. Today I had such an amazing conversation with my friend Heather. Heather is an herbalist and someone that I have followed for quite some time. We've had other conversations in the past on other podcasts, and I have been a big fan of her products for a very long time. So, just as a little introduction to Heather, here is a quick bio. So, Heather has been working with plant medicine for nearly 20 years. What has come from these years with the plants is now focused on vibrational healing through the wisdom of Mother Earth, bringing human bodies back to their divine creation through physical and spiritual healing modalities of meditation, visualization, shamanic healing journeys, and the taking in of nourishing foods and herbal remedies. Her apothecary sits on her and her husband's farm, where she grows 90% of the plant materials that are offered in the blends that she creates, and the remaining 10% of the plant materials are collected on the wild lands in her area. Ethical wild harvesting, where her patches are thriving, and she notes this is an ever learning, evolving process. Being an herbalist and steward of the land, it is an honor and devotional practice. So I really hope you guys enjoy this conversation that I have with Heather. Me and her we always flow so well. And I thought that it was a really deep and meaningful conversation where we kind of just hit on all the touch points that I wanted to without even really trying. It just kind of flowed in that direction. And I've really loved to see the evolution of her business, her taking things from the farmer's market and then seeing things pop up in so many different stores. Every time I see one of her products, I'm so excited. And now seeing her shift more towards that online presence, she's been doing such an amazing job showing up on Instagram, which, speaking of, if you want, I would really recommend following her on Instagram. It's a really great follow, and she's always there to teach something new about the plants, which I don't know about you guys, but I always really enjoy. And her products are incredible, especially if you are in the western part of the United States. I would definitely recommend giving them a try and possibly using them for your clients or patients, as they are just super high quality. And if you are in the area, then they are also local and all organic, and even some are wild foraged. So take a listen to the episode. I hope you enjoy it, and let's dive in. All right, guys, today I have Heather on. Heather is the owner of Enchantment Creek, and she is an herbalist. I've also looked up to her for a long time. I love her products and all of her knowledge. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into it with Heather.
Thank you, honey. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I'm honored to be here, Maddie. Thank you for that. Yeah, all the
Yeah,
things.
of course. Well, I'm so glad you're here. To start off with, I would really just love to let's dive into your background. So, how did you really get interested in the plant world, using plants as medicine? Where did that spark come from?
Yeah, I think I have a somewhat classic herbalist story. The struggle with allopathic medicine. I was dealing with chronic conditions that the doctors were just prescribing antibiotics over and over and over and over again. I was 20. I was very, even at 20, very, I guess, stubborn, but also spoke my mind clearly. And I did not buy that that was the only treatment for this chronic condition. Um, and I one day just said, if you're going to give me this again, I'm leaving. And that's what happened. So I left and I went on a journey. I didn't know, like, I was raised with the land with my grandparents and stuff. And my grandma did like home-ish remedies, for colds and flus and stuff, but I didn't know what plant medicine was. My mom worked in the pharmaceutical industry, on the insurance side, but still very much with the pharmaceuticals. So I didn't know that plant medicine was a thing. But when I went to go and research finding another remedy for what I was dealing with, it opened my entire world up to plant medicine. While I was researching all these things, it started with like heavy amounts of supplements, cleaning up my diet. And then I was in like a used bookstore one day and I saw Michael Moore's Medicinal Plants of the Mountain West. And it was like a moth to a flame. I was like, what? Because I'd always loved nature and loved food and natural things. But um, like I said, my grandma canned everything and we did a lot of home remedies, but they were very like folk remedies. And I wouldn't say she was out getting plants in the garden for things, but um, she was of the Depression era, so I think that was just natural of that era, to be wanting to keep remedies at home. So I found this book in that bookstore, and I was like, I could have cried telling you that. It's weird. Um, and then when I saw that Michael Moore plant of the, I guess it was the Pacific West. I'm sorry, because I was in Washington. So I saw this Plants of the Pacific West in the bookstore, and I realized that that was it. And I was able to, I, I completely reversed this chronic condition I had been working on within 4 months. And I had been dealing with it for probably 2 years. My skin, I had really bad acne, cystic acne, um, and my skin cleared. I lost all this weight and became lean and healthy. And it was all the plants, hyper amounts of supplements at first, but then I dove into the plant medicine and I started applying that to my body. And um, I never looked back. I went, I was one of those annoying 21-year-old, 22-year-olds preaching to everybody I knew. Had to learn to stop doing that because I made a lot of my friends mad. Um, so I was learning what it was to be a practitioner, I guess, and being gentle and being mindful and not pushing upon people before they ask for it. So that was a whole journey back then, but here we are almost 20 years later, which is crazy, just under 20 years later. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my beginning. I think it's pretty classic, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I want to kind of dive into in a little bit with about some of I don't know, I've always loved plants, like growing up in Idaho and Wyoming, like my grandpa would always show me the different plants on the side of the trail. And so I had like a little bit of an idea about, what some of these plants were around me, but I didn't know all of them. And I definitely didn't know about using them for medicine. And as the past few years, I've really gotten more into it. And I think it's so remarkable how certain plants will find you. Like if you're just
Yes.
open to listen, they find you. And every time I'm like when you were like, oh, I'm crying about this, like I related to that so much because I've been crying about plants all the time lately. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna want to be my friend because I'm like the girl over here just like crying about how much I love plants. But it's like they definitely, I mean, if there was ever a question about there being more than just this life, I think plants and this weird, my dogs do it for me too, but like I just see the souls, like you can like feel it, like it's so strong and the presence is crazy. And I'm like, we think we're so smart and intelligent as humans, but actually, I think that these plants have so much more wisdom than us because they are the ones that find us and we're the ones that like have to silence our ego to really listen to them.
Oh, for sure. And like what you're talking about, I've been down a rabbit hole lately with Stephen Brunner. I have to roll it to get his name out right, but for me, Um, he, I'm reading Plant Spirit Medicine. Is that what it is? Maybe
Oh,
or Spirit
yes. I
or
read that.
Dreaming with the Earth. I'm not getting the title right. I'm not good with those types of things. How we are all the same and just different. We're different, like conglomerates of cells and chemicals, and we manifest differently, but we're all connected. And the wisdom that the plants hold and the wisdom that we hold, it's all locked in the same spiritual realm. But like what you said about ego, we have to let that dissolve. And it's
Hmm.
really, I think it's terrifying for most people to just say, like, I'm the same as a plant and a fungi and a bacteria, even down to that level, and I'm just chemical. That flips people out because we think we're so special as, and I'm saying we as like a societal generalization of where we are as humans right now. We're not that special.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying for most people, but it's also like the most liberating thing to just be, we're the same as everything else, we're all connected, we're here, what are we here to be? Just that. We're here
Hmm.
to be human and be interacting with our natural world and listening when the plants and the animals and the fungi come to us. I don't all these things that we've made up, these structures that we've made up, these societal things, they aren't really um, what matters.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, they have this way of really bringing you back down to this really elementary place where things are just they are what they are. Oh my goodness. I need to pause this really quick. There's a moose out there and my dogs are outside.
Put her in her. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We had to take a real quick break. There was a moose out in the yard. But perfect timing. I think it went well
Perfect
with the
timing.
conversation.
Yes. Yeah. And like, the physical healing I was talking about earlier, I kind of, as we paused, I was like, that wasn't the end of my healing story because I had a lot, what the healing really happened when we were talking about Star Valley and when I had to leave that life that I had there. It was like spiritual, emotional trauma healing. And
Hmm.
that the plants are there for us for those types of things. I feel like even more, and the spiritual traumatic type healing, how that manifests in our cells, it really disrupts um, the natural flow of our our divine bodies that are meant to be in this perfect state. And
Hmm.
the place that we're at in society, I feel like a lot of people have been traumatized on levels that are really hard to comprehend just because um, we've been going through so much on a collective large level. And how we're not healing from trauma or not acknowledging healing from spiritual warfare, spiritual oppression, all sorts of things on so many levels, as women, as humans in general. I feel like that's a big part of the collective path of healing that we're on right now. And when you shared henbane a few weeks ago in your story, that's like that plant is all about finding our divine essence within our bodies to connect with something higher than ourselves so that we can fully sink into our being as humans. And
Oh.
the plants offer that so deep, so profoundly all the time. And we just have to take when we, because they're energetic beings also. They have an energetic frequency. When we are calm in our minds, we can tap into that frequency. When when we have our Wi-Fi off on a regular basis, our phones off of our bodies, we're able to really, really feel the external world on a deeper level. And when we do those things, we can hear that energetic frequency, we can tap into it, we can pick up on it, we can acknowledge it and go to it to hear what that frequency is offering to our bodies and to our minds and our hearts. And I feel like if more of us take the leap of like courage that it takes to disconnect from these, these magnetic waves of radiation that we're saturated with all the time, if we can unplug from that and take the time to just say, nope, I'm going to have these hours clear. I'm going to have this time, hiking. I'm not going to have my phone on my body. I'm going to just be hiking in the woods. And the more we take ourselves away from these societal like structures of the supposed to, like people wearing their Apple watches, they're so obsessed with reading these almost synthetic frequencies. We can disconnect from that and we can really tap into the natural world. And I feel like a lot of people who have been struggling to heal, who have been like trapped in a cycle of, pharmaceutical medicines, pharmaceutical intervention, um, they'll be able to release themselves from that and really find the true path of healing. And I do want to say real quick, just so my words don't get convoluted, out like Western medicine, it is an amazing thing for emergencies. Like it's a beautiful intervention and invention to have emergency medicine. And when we're depending upon it for our health, our everyday health, that's where we get messed up because the synthetic chemicals mixing with our natural chemical responses in the body is where everything gets tweaked and twisted and we can't, the path to healing gets muddy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more of like that acute and emergency situation where the herbs are more for long term and prevention. But I was gonna say I really like especially I feel like as entrepreneurs, a lot of the times we can think we need to constantly be doing, and there's almost like this measure of worth depending on how much, or at least I get sucked into that, how many
Oh, yeah.
hours in the day am I doing something.
Right.
And I actually have found that I get in my own way, because I'm pouring from a cup that is half full. And what is actually like super counterintuitive, but I've found to be really helpful for me, is when I actually take the time, not only like on a monthly basis, but on a daily basis, to really just be. And I'm able to recharge that. And like that's where that feminine energy flows through more. And my ideas are so much better. And I'm able to really come up with like, okay, what is my big picture? Like, what am I actually doing with like, why am I doing these things? Like, what is my goal with my business? And that's one thing where I've really been connecting with plants, is because I have the tendency, even when I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this time to be by myself and like go in nature, I'm still like running up a mountain. And it's like, that is not it, that you're still like doing something. And being
Yes.
able to just like have these plants give me this excuse to be like, no, I'm just going to like slowly meander down the trails and like just like look at the life around me and like see what it has to tell me and like just be quiet. Like that has been really really powerful for me, and I feel like that's where all my best ideas always come from. I'm like, oh, I feel like recharged, I know what I'm doing, I know like the direction I need to be heading in. I don't know, have you felt that? I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Oh my God. Because like, I mean, my husband and I, we farm and
Mhm.
ranch, and farming and ranching requires multiple streams of income to make it really work. So, like, we
Yeah.
have cows, we have some row crops, which we are moving away from. We have hay, we feed our own cows off the farm. I have Enchantment Creek, I have the gardens, I have chickens. And now we've added a being. I have a son who's 9 months old,
Yes. That's so
and
exciting.
like saying all that out loud, it's like, holy crap. No wonder people are like, how do you do all of this? I have no idea, really. But my husband and I get so wrapped up into the never ending to do list. And like, if we wanted to, we could work 18 hours a day. easy
Mhm.
every single day. But why? We have to stop. I stop more than he does. He's born and raised here. Sawyer, my son, is generation five. I am not. I came from, cities, little suburbia, like deep suburbia, but still. Um, I did not come from farm life. And the farm life that has been ingrained in my husband and even his dad, and it probably tweaked around his dad's time, is like the worth of farmers is not there. And the expectation of 24/7 work is the only way to be a farmer, right? And that is completely not sustainable for a modern, any human.
Yeah.
We used to farm in community, and we used to farm and ranch and with other families. And like we have neighbors and other families, we know our neighbors and all the things, but they have the same amount of work we have. So how often do we see these people? Not very often. And we're
Yeah.
trying right now, how can our daily actions be in line with what you're talking about, with that slowdown, that like come back to center many times a day, so that we're not like working our lives away, exhausted, miserable. My husband has referred to our farm as a prison. Like he feels like he is in prison. And why would anyone want to farm when that is the energy around our situation? Like,
Yeah.
why would our son want to farm later, if the energy around it is prison? And I think as entrepreneurs, like you were talking about, we create that prison within our work because we're so, one, society tells us that we have to. That's what is expected. And two, there is a lot to do when you're an entrepreneur. It's never ending. And I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs who are like really high level. And it's like, where do we want to be? Do we want to be at that really high level that almost does require 24/7? Or do we want to be like comfortable and average-ish within the entrepreneur realm? And I'm kind of trying to find a happy medium because I'm not trying to like conquer the world. We're trying to create a healthy landscape with our farm in our bioregion. We're trying to create, a pollinator heaven with the herbs blending into our cattle and crop rotation. We're trying to create healthy humans. So, like, how can we get the things that are essential done, that's working on our business and working in our business, while we're still maintaining, not, I don't like the word balance, but while we're still maintaining a sanity level, and
Mhm.
we feel liberated in our businesses instead
Yeah.
of feeling trapped by our business, because
Yeah.
that's where the feminine creativity flow that gets completely cut off. And if we're in this time we're in, which is, I feel, as a worldwide collective, we're shifting society right now. That's how I feel. I can see that, I can feel that. And if we keep doing the same things, we're never going to find that new reality. So something my husband and I are working on is, what do we need to clear out so that we can have that space to just like chill. And before I was a mother, I was really good at that. I was really good at like being in the present moment in the garden, really like meditating into my garden work. And then I've added mother on now, and I am a work at home, stay at home mom, essentially, which is like so insane.
Mhm.
And how can I be that present person that I was before motherhood now with my son? Because I'm struggling with that like hugely. I'm trying to like find myself again because I am not blessed with feeling like myself as a mother. I feel
Mm.
like myself has been completely lost, and I've been completely lost. So through the last 9 months, I find myself here and there, but it's in that slowing down that my husband and I have like decided we're doing again, where I can see the glimpses of the new version of me that is business, herbalist, and mother all together. But it's in that slowdown, and I'm still trying to figure it out, like what just happened. It's like we have to, I feel like we're always recalibrating to that. So
Oh, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was very vulnerable. And actually, I feel like I benefit from that so much because, me and my husband have been contemplating the idea of having a child. And there's some parts of me that I think I want that so bad. And then other parts of me that, like, I'm like, how am I going to balance? Or, yeah, like, how am I going to be an entrepreneur and a mother and still have time for myself when I feel like I don't already have time for myself? And it's like
right.
you do take on a whole new identity. And yeah, wow, I think being a mother is the hardest job in the whole world. So congrats to you making them all work.
Yeah, and good for you for contemplating. I was like, oh, I got this. I'll just wear him all the time. It's fine. Well, a baby doesn't want to be worn all the time. I wear him a lot. He is on my back a lot. But now that he's like, he goes through phases it's like every week is different. And it is the hardest job. I have like thought so much about how much more I respect women. I love women. I love our feminine creative power. I think we're amazing. And knowing that there are single mothers, knowing that there are, mothers who are in terrible marriages. I'm very blessed with a beautiful husband, who's supportive and amazing, and we have a beautiful life, and we have the freedom, air quotes, freedom to for me to be working at home and be with him. And I have childcare like 3 days a week for 4 hours at a time. And it's like that. My business wouldn't survive without that. My vitality wouldn't survive without that. Because I the kind of mother I want to be is present and with him and all the time, and giving his nervous system what it needs. But then where does, my nervous system needs care too. And that's again, our societal structures are not set up at this time for mothers to be properly cared for while they're caring for the next generation of human. Um, where is mother's support when my husband is gone? He's home for an hour-ish at lunch and an hour-ish at night for dinner. Then he's not home again till like 9 after farming. So it's like, where is the support for him? Where's the support for me? And how can we like begin to rebuild these structures that actually support a woman's work that is mother and creatress and healer and teacher and all of the things that we are as women. Where is the support for that in our society? I don't really see it. um and learning to say, okay, like I was going to farmers markets all the time, like 3 a week, and I completely cut that out of my business endeavors. It was not sustainable with a baby who's crawling and who does not want to be worn all the time. So I had to cut that out, and now I'm like shifting. I have an online presence, but really the sales were not there yet. And now I'm like, I am trusting creator, I'm trusting God to just say, this is not working. Is my business not working? And he's given me confirmation to keep going with, no, it's not that. It's just the shift needs to happen. So like letting go of farmers markets, which were very lucrative for me, letting go of that income, coming back to like a place of like base where I'm paying my bills, but I'm not like where I was before, right? I'm
Mhm.
not able to reinvest as heavily as I was before into my business. So like taking a step back, calming down, focusing the energy where it needs to be focused, which for me right now is online. I'm like, doing all my SEO and re my web developers rebuilding my website to make it a little more streamlined, a little more modern, easy to deal with. And there's promise there. There's confirmation that that's the correct move, but like it is terrifying.
Mhm.
It's like going from consistency to like, oh yeah, we're back at, is this going to work? We're back there. And we're back at like, oh yeah, I have to be really mindful with how I spend money within my business again, which is like I got into this really comfortable place where I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this, and now I'm back to like, wait, we gotta refigure this. So where I don't know how I got all the way over there, but it's fine. So we're just figuring all these things out.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is why I was really excited to talk to you because every time we have a conversation, I feel like we're like on the same like kind
Yes.
of wavelength going on because I have actually been feeling a lot lately. I don't know if you get into astrology or not, but like there's been a lot
Yeah.
going on like with like Venus retrograde and now today's like 8/8, happy 8/8.
Oh
Anyways,
yeah,
I've
that.
been doing things on a really deep level and kind of some like things that I didn't even know that I was struggling with. And one of those things is like the patriarchy. Like the other night, like I have like a good life and like I've been privileged and I have great male support systems in my life, but like I don't think any of us as women, I mean, maybe there's some women out there that truly don't feel it, but I think I would say every woman I've ever talked to definitely feels the struggle of the way that you are lower than men in the world. Like you have to fight for respect, and men will constantly just kind of disregard your opinions, and it's just it can be a lot. And like I I love my husband and he probably thinks I'm crazy, but the other night I just like had a full I just needed to cry. I needed to feel my emotions and I just had a full on like crying fit in bed over all of this, over like I don't hate men, but like I just hate the patriarchy, Of and and I think a lot of the times it's like a really hard balance to find because like we want to be feminists, but also sometimes I think that is almost playing into this part of like women being superwomen where we need to be an entrepreneur, we need to run a business, but at the same time like we take on the role of cleaning the house and then we have kids and then like we're literally doing it all, and I'm like I don't know if this is helping either. Like how do we find a middle, like how do, like you were saying, that support, because it's like okay, well, we want respect, so then we fight for the respect, but then that it tells us like becoming superwoman, and then I'm like, I don't think that it's sustainable to be superwoman,
Yeah.
So it's like,
Oh,
what do we do?
oh, what do we do? And like I have a lot to say about all that you just said because again, talking about astrology, talking about where the collective is, like what we just have gone through and are still going through since 2020 happened. Um, Feminism, you know, I used to consider myself a liberal feminist, and now none of that matches because what you're it plays into that patriarchal system. It
Yeah.
it it's trying to have women play as a male actor.
Hmm.
And what does that erases everything that we are.
Yeah.
And I feel like the true feminism is us acknowledging the fact that men have beautiful qualities that we don't have, and vice versa, and they go together perfectly. That's Creator made us this way for a reason. He
Yeah.
made us to match each other so that we could be partners and we could move forward as partners and as community. And something I've been listening to Dr. Zach Bush, like crazy amounts of him because I just found him and I don't know how I just found him, but anyway, he said something about how the indigenous cultures of the United States who are still, in our presence, when they were still intact in the way that they were before the colonizers came here, the women, they were all different tribes, right? They sure they had problems, but the women would go, there was a group of women who would go around to the different tribes and try and solve problems because women are really good at like, it doesn't have to be one way. And we can
Mm-hmm.
say, I see your way and I see it this way. And how can we come in this middle ground and make it work for both of our communities, right? And I feel that the patriarchal systems, the male systems, they are male, they're dominant, they are aggressive, they are conquer, they are mine, they are all of these things that are male that we love about our men.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no female energy within the dominating structures of our modern society. There's just no female energy. There's no, it's all war, it's all fighting, it's all harsh and like, this is mine and you're taking from me and I will not have it. And it's warrior energy, which again, like we need that. And all of those energies of male need the balance of the female. And I feel that the patriarchal structures that are crumbling before our eyes, they're like, wait, we can't die. The females can't take over. The women can't take over because then they're going to oppress us. Like there's this
Mm-hmm.
energy of like the male structures, and I'm not talking about like men at all. I'm talking about the structures that are male energy that are
Mm-hmm.
falling. The death cry of that is like, but wait, we did all this. Are they going to do? Is the female energy going to do that to us? No, the female energy wants to understand how we can come together as creator intended us to come, meld our energies together so that we all are supported. Because I feel
Mm-hmm.
that having that female power within these societal structures is going to offer ways for the women to do our work, the men to do their work, and for us to be living in a beautiful way together. It's not like one or the other, because if females were all in charge all the time, there would be crazy imbalances there too. I mean, think
Yeah.
about the dark side of female energy, like, you know, psychosis comes to mind because I have had crazy emotions lately with my motherhood and all and figuring all that out. And jealousy and manipulation, because women are, I am fine to say, we are really good at manipulating.
I'm a
And
master manipulator.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, admitting all this stuff, we have to see our darkness too,
Mm-hmm.
because and understand that, like, as these patriarchal systems crumble and we start to bring up more feminine structures, to not like overbalance and to
Yeah.
take it back to the other way, like that pendulum swing. We don't want it swung all the way over there. We want it like hovering in the middle,
Yeah.
and like something that's, a good way to look at this, women's hormones. I've been working with a lot of clients with some digestive bitters that are amazing for women's hormones and some food stuff and meditation stuff that we're not naturally meant to spike in like mountain peak spikes. We need to be in like happy valley spiking, where there's ebbs and flows for sure, ups and downs, but they're not like a freaking mountain summit to the valley floor. They're like
Yeah.
the to a prairie, to open spaces in the forest that's like slowly up and down. That's, if we can find a way to bring the feminine energy back up, I feel that we'll be able to be supported in the ways that we need so that we can mother, we can do our work. Women might want to mother more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women who are,
Exactly.
no way, man, because
Mm-hmm.
it's intense, but um, our structures are not set up for us thriving in that, where we're designed by creator to thrive in that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really hard trying to like equal out something that's just like set, like the world has just set that as kind of the way it is. And it's great that as women now we can do what we want for the most part, but also then it just comes with a lot of pressure as well of like needing to do it all. And
Needing to do it all.
yeah, finding that
Yeah.
middle ground. But yeah. Well, this was like, no, this is so much better than the outline I had going. So I'm so glad that this conversation has just flown so well. I mean, it's so good. But I did want to ask you a little bit about just your journey into starting Enchantment Creek and what kind
Yeah,
of sparked that and how you developed such a wonderful company.
thank you. Yeah, thanks for giving Enchantment Creek that space. I've loved what we've been talking about too.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, for the space for that, because these
Yeah,
conversations
no,
you
I love this conversation so far.
yeah, so Enchantment Creek came out of um, the frustration of big, dried, crappy herbs going into medicine.
Mm,
Um, Also born out of ordering herbs across the world to
mhm,
come here to treat bodies that are here. Um, I believe in bioregional herbalism, which is bodies that are in a bioregion in an ecosystem are to be treated and nourished by plants that are also in that bioregion and ecosystem. And when we are working with these plants, not only are they fresh, where we get all the magical waters, the crystalline waters of the plant's structures, we're getting all of that water, which I've heard herbalists say, like, it doesn't matter, but water holds vibration. The plants of that land are taking up the vibration of that land. And when how is that worth nothing in our bodies? I just don't buy that at all. When it comes through the medicine, it's powerful. It's a part of that plant. Um, and I wanted to see medicines, plant medicines that are that are vibrating with the bioregion of their where they're growing and helping the human that grows within that bioregion to also vibrate with the frequency of Mother Earth. And to me, when we're working with these fresh, locally harvested, locally grown plant materials in our medicines that we're taking into our body, we can't help but to feel connected to Mother Earth in a way that we are almost forced to take care of her better because
mhm.
she's taking care of us so beautifully. It's like instead of being I'm sorry, my husband, we're tearing a barn down, so if there's background noise, I apologize. He's running
Oh, I
around.
can't hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ignore that. But um if we were to if all herbalists function this way, like
Yeah.
not that I have all the answers or anything like that, but like think about it. You're herbalist in Washington and the Pacific Northwest, and then Southern California, mid California coastline, and then your Rocky Mountain herbalist and your Southern Rocky Mountain herbalist, your East Coast herbalist, all of them working with plant materials within their bioregion, all of them working with grown plant material from like local farms or maybe their own garden and making medicines in that way, we would all be so connected to our place. Our roots would go that much deeper into the soil, and we would feel the absolute responsibility, necessity to take care of our lands because we would feel so good. And my clients, my customers, I hear all the time, your medicine, your plant tinctures, your plant, your salve, even my salves, they're the only thing that works. And I don't believe that that is me doing that. I believe that it is the fresh plant material that's grown at my farm, the fresh plant material that I mindfully, ethically wild harvest within 100 miles. I don't even travel that far, but say within 100 miles. All of it is fresh. All of it is our home. Like my clients are within, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. It's all there and we feel that connection to our home.
Yeah.
And the amount of healing that Mother Earth has offered me in my life, from the physical that I was talking about earlier to the spiritual to the emotional to the trauma, that was all like laying in the forest, soaking myself up with when I first started finding, okay, I need this herb, I'm going to go find it in the woods. I'm not going to go to the store where, all these bulk herbs are in these plastic bins that are, where are they from? Who knows? I'm going to go find that plant. I'm going to go talk to an herbalist who knows that plant. And then years later, when I was healing from spiritual, emotional trauma stuff, I'm just going to go and I'm going to lay underneath a rose bush. I'm going to lay with the pine trees. I'm going to lay down with the osha root, you know, fill my lungs with their magic, feel the mycelium under my body, and really connect. And that's what Enchantment Creek is. That's what I designed this apothecary to be, is honing the vibration of Mother Earth into the human body so that we reciprocate that relationship of healing and offer our healing. Thank you as a gratitude to Mother Earth to heal her. So yeah, that's where she came from and why. And
That is so beautiful.
yeah, thank you.
I love that.
It's where again, and it's that separating from what is that word? I can't even think of the word. The consumerism, like capitalism, that word. I try and not have that in my reality because it's like we don't have to focus on these dying structures. We need to rebuild new structures. Um, I've had a lot of people who are like, your business model makes no sense because people get better. And I'm like, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Instead of the pharmaceutical industry that, relies on people being sick.
Mm-hmm.
So vibrational healing is real. And when we nourish our nature made bodies, I've been saying this for freaking years, nourishing our nature made bodies with nature. That's all we have to do. When we
Yeah.
start that nourishment process and we're fully nourished by nature, we can then like sift through all the other stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
because bodies are supported in the structure they're meant to be. So, yeah, I feel like that was a total tangent, but that's why I'm
No,
doing.
not at all. I love that. I think a lot of the times, like I've felt myself do it, and I know, like, in the nutrition world, it's very much like you can kind of get hyper focused on the nutrients, which nutrients are very important, obviously, but
Oh yeah.
um I really like the way you phrase that, because it's really looking beyond just the nutrients and looking at the energetics of this plant. Like, how did this plant grow? Like, was it happy and like
Yeah.
natural sunlight and like good soil? And how was it harvested? And then how is it taken care of after that? Like, to create this product that you're putting in your mouth. And I think all those little pieces tie together so much to create such a beautiful end product, where our bodies really need that. Like, I developed a autoimmune disease this winter, and it was, for me, there's like so many pieces that go into it. Like, when I see sunshine, it gets better, so I'm like, okay, there's things beyond nutrients. And like, I know as like a nutritionist, I do everything right, and so I'm like, this is energetics. Like, this is like an emotional thing, or like, it's way beyond just nutrients. And I think that that's what we have to remember for ourselves and for our clients, is that there's so much more to the whole picture. Like, we're dynamic beings, and that's why we have to look at it from this holistic lens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that dynamic being that you just said, that's what we are. That's what the
Yeah.
plants are. That's what the fungi are. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
dynamic. And how are we pushing up against each other and how are we flowing with each other
Yeah.
and understanding? You get to understand health on a much deeper level when we go that route. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that you developed that, and I know that you'll find the answers.
Yeah. I feel there's promise when I can see,
Yeah,
like, in the summer it gets better and stuff like that. I think it's just frustrating because you think you're doing everything right, but also it is beautiful because maybe it's opening my eyes to something that I never would have addressed if not.
definitely. Yeah, you'll find something amazing and there'll be epiphanies and revelations and it'll be great.
Yeah. So you
Um,
kind of mentioned that you're kind of taking Enchantment Creek more online.
mhm.
Yeah. What are your big picture goals for that? Like you're just trying to
Yeah.
up yourselves on your website?
Yeah, I want to, well, I need to not be, I need to be home and available for my son.
Yeah.
I know he came here for the plants, which is great. We had
Hmm.
lots of dream time together before he came, and then when he was in my body, we had lots of dream time together. That's a whole nother conversation, but I want to be here for him and um, seeing my medicines ship out of the apothecary. And we're doing deliveries once a week to my local customers. But my bigger goals, I guess, are touching the bioregion of the Rockies. And that being like, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, down into Utah, some Colorado. So I see Enchantment Creek going that direction. I'm not looking at like, worldwide or anything like this. I
Yeah.
want to touch our bioregion because I'm working with plants that thrive here and that we grow at the farm. I grow at the farm, and um, those are the bodies that I think are going to most benefit from my remedies. A lot of people all over the country buy them, but I do see Enchantment Creek kind of getting saturated within the bioregion of the Rockies. We're doing some I'm working on a wholesale project to connect with health food stores and practitioners all across the Rocky Mountain bioregion. And so that's one piece. And then I've been working on some podcast pitching, and it was funny that then you reached out because that's, those little breadcrumbs of those little
It's so
breadcrumbs
easy.
of synchronicity. I was like, oh my gosh, of course, thank you, creator. Thank you for guiding me down this route because um, as an herbalist and farmer, I really resist technology, but I'm learning to use it as a tool. I'm
Hmm.
learning to work with it. I want to work with it. I've opened myself up to work with it so that I can reach more people and have my energy more intact at home where it's really needed
Yeah.
with my son. Because farmers markets, oh my gosh, they, I loved my time. The community is amazing, and they are like legit the most draining experience
Mm.
I've ever, because you're doing pop-up shops 3 times a week. You're loading all your stuff, you're harvesting all your fresh stuff in the growing season, and you're loading and unloading and loading and unloading and setting up and breaking down. And I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
it was hard, but it was also the easiest like listen I've ever done to creator, where I'm just like, yep, I hear you, I'm done. And it was like one Saturday I came home and had a total breakdown, crying, so exhausted. Sawyer was crying, so exhausted. And I told my husband, like my husband and I talked about it the next day, and I sent an email to my clients on Tuesday. So it was like a 3-day thing. I didn't give notice. I didn't get notice. I just went with it, and I definitely don't regret it. Even though I'm, talking about that little feeling a little sketchy with the income is not matched yet, but I know that it will. I have a lot of faith there. So yeah, that's the direction we're moving, and I know it's essential for my health and Sawyer's health and the health of Enchantment Creek too, because we'll be healthier too. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing. I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I've had this thought before, but just like throughout our conversation, technology can be a tough one where it's like, oh, like there's like so much lean into technology these days. And it's like, okay, well, like we also need to just like be in the world. But I think also one of the things that I love about what I do, with helping other practitioners with technology is really that it can help give you more of that feminine flow, like you can really like get back to being present and spending time with your son because there's a way where you can more of automate that income in the long run.
right. Well, I'd love
Yeah.
to hear what you have to say about that more.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say actually, if we should chat sometime because I would
Yeah.
totally swap with you. Like I would help you make like a course or something that you could teach clients or practitioners about stuff if you would teach me more about plants because there's
Yeah.
some plants out there that I really want to get to know, but I'm a little nervous of. So
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot that I love that you should, that yeah,
yeah,
they demand respect.
exactly. Yeah. Well, this has been so fun. So, first
Thank
off, I
you.
want to ask you if you could give one piece of advice to any new or struggling health and wellness entrepreneur, what would it be?
What would it be? Health and wellness entrepreneur.
So it could be an
Don't,
herbalist, it could be whoever
yeah.
comes to your mind.
I got really hung up on silly things like my labels,
Mm,
how I got them off of paper onto the computer to be printed. And I was liberated when I just hired someone who knows how to do that.
mm,
Don't be afraid to just hire the person. Like I have a web developer. She's amazing. She knows all the things that I have no idea about. And I worked with a graphic designer to, he put my designs essentially onto Adobe Illustrator and
mm.
my labels were printed in like 3 months, So like instead of, oh, I don't know how to do this and I put it away, just hire someone. Don't be afraid to spend $1,000, on uh your whole line having labels designed, all of your printed marketing materials, having templates and all these things. Don't be afraid to hire someone because that hung me up for literally years. And that is what I would do is just say when you have your expertise in whatever your field is, let the other people who have their expertise in their field come to you and be a part of your team. It helps build community. It helps to be not isolated within your business as an entrepreneur, which happens a lot. And it liberates you. It allows you to move your expertise into your business, moving that forward instead of being hung up on something that you have to like learn from scratch. My SEO project is another thing. Like my web developer gave me tips and tricks, and I applied those tips and tricks. And I am going through my blog and doing all the heavy lifting. I'm doing it slowly and surely, going through all my products. But like without her, without my web developer, I wouldn't have known where to start, and I would have like tried to teach myself SEO, which is like insanely difficult and
Yeah.
insanely complex. So all of those things, that is what I would say is just hire someone. Don't be afraid to do that. Bring them into your world, and it'll be the best thing ever.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You can't do everything. Otherwise, you'll just have a bunch of
Everything.
things that are halfway done. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, so one thing I've been doing in these podcasts is pulling a card for you and your
Oh,
business. Are you
goody.
okay with
Yes, I
that?
love cards.
Okay, perfect. So let's
Yes.
see. Okay. I'm like I love tarot, but I have to still look things up because
Oh, yeah.
I don't know them
It's
off the
very
top of my head.
complex.
Let's see. We got the Four of Swords.
Oh, oh,
Do you
I
know that
don't
one
know.
off the top of your
No, I mean, no. Mm-mm. No.
head?
I was
Okay.
studying tarot for a while, but it's talk about complex.
Yeah. So the Four of Swords tells you to rest before you take on the next challenge. You have reached an important first milestone and must recharge your energy before the next phase begins so you are refreshed and ready to go.
Look at that energy medicine, Maddie.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
That's awesome. That is like seals off our entire conversation. We started with the moose and now we get Four of Swords. I can do that.
Yeah, I love it. It
I love
always
it
is so
too.
perfect. I'm like, how
Oh,
does this
it's
work every time?
freaking energy medicine right there. That's beautiful. I love it so much.
Oh, perfect. Well, this conversation has been so amazing, Heather. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really
Oh
appreciate it.
yeah, and thank you for inviting me. And it was great for me too. So thank you.
You're welcome. Tell everybody where they can find you if they
Oh,
want to buy some of your
yes.
herbs or
Yeah,
follow you on
great.
Instagram or anything like that.
Thank you. I'm at enchantmentcreekherbs.com, Enchantment Creek, and then herbs.com. I'm on Instagram at Enchantment Creek, and I'm very active on Instagram. My shop is online. We're just getting ready to launch a new theme on my website. So it's going to be a lot more streamlined, easy, modern style shopping. I think everyone will be really happy once it gets going. So that's where you can find me. I have an email list. I'm like once a week kind of person. Right now it's heavy on fresh garden stuff for my locals, but yeah, that's where I am.
Amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you so much. This was great.
Enjoyed this episode. I have something new for you. It is the Entrepreneur Archetype Quiz. I just created this. Your strengths and weaknesses and your desires and help you put that into a framework so you really know how to structure your business. So go ahead, give that a try. I'm going to link it below. And one other thing is that if you are enjoying this community of practitioners, I have a Facebook group for you. It is called the Profitable Practice. And this is where you can really connect with other practitioners. I want to be able to have a space for unlicensed practitioners and coaches to go to really be able to collaborate with one another and also where we can just show support for one another. I feel that in this world of alternative and holistic health, it can be a little bit scary and maybe even nerve wracking because it can seem like there's a lot of competition. But really, I think that we need to reframe and restructure that because there are so many clients out there in the world that need us and we all really have different things that we can offer. We're all very unique people and we have different areas of expertise. And so by working with one another and collaborating, we can really help each other to achieve so much more. So head over to the Profitable Practice on Facebook and join us inside there.